All right, let's talk about something really cool. We're going to look at a blueprint for a system that doesn't just follow a plan. It literally is the plan. A living process designed to build, manage, and even heal itself, all from a single high-level goal. This is Meta-AI Orchestration. So let's just kick this off with a big question, right? What if a plan could actually think for itself? I mean, what if your project plan wasn't just some static, dead document, but a living, thinking thing that could spot problems, assign the right experts, and change its own structure on the fly? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into. This is the story of a blueprint that doesn't just hand out a to-do list, but dynamically orchestrates a whole team of AI agents to manage, adapt, and execute that list from the very beginning to the very end. Okay, so Section 1, a self-building system. The big question is, how does a system like this actually think? We're not talking about a simple checklist here. This is a complete cognitive framework, a self-adapting execution plan that's built to manage crazy complexity from the inside out. The official name for this is Meta-AI Orchestration. But what you really need to get is that the most important words here are collaboration and adaptation. It's all about a team of specialized AIs working together, constantly talking and changing course, all aiming for that one single objective. So if this system can think, how does it organize its thoughts? Well, it operates on three distinct but totally interconnected levels. The blueprint calls them planes. You can kind of think of it as the system's own internal mind map, its architecture for how it thinks. And here they are. You've got the structural plane, that's the what, the agentic plane, that's the who, and the meta-temporal plane, that's the when and how. Put them all together and you get this incredible living picture of the entire project. So let's break that down. First, you have the structural plane. Think of this as the bedrock, the absolute foundation. It is a super detailed list of every single task. And this is cool, it's dependency-flattened, which is a fancy way of saying it knows exactly what has to happen first. No guesswork, no hidden steps, just the raw, honest blueprint of the work. Okay, so once the what is crystal clear, the system shifts to the agentic plane to sort out the who. This is basically the team roster. It looks at every single one of those tasks we just talked about and maps it to the perfect AI agent for the job. It's all about getting the right specialist on the right problem every single time. And that brings us to the third plane, the meta-temporal. If the other two are the map and the team, then this is the conductor of the entire orchestra. It's in charge of the tempo. It manages the whole project lifecycle, decides when to circle back for a do-over, and knows exactly when it's time to move on. This is the strategic brain of the whole operation. Okay, Section 3, meet the cognitive team. So we've seen the structure, now let's meet the actual team members, the digital crew that gets all this work done. Each of these AI agents has a super specific job, almost like a personality, that's defined by its core instructions. You could almost call it its prime directive. First up, let's introduce GPTASe, the task extractor. Its job is to be that first creative spark. It takes the big high-level goal and just explodes it into a raw, unfiltered list of every conceptual step you'd need to take to get there. And really, its whole personality is right here in its core prompt. It's told to identify every distinct action-oriented step without embedding any technical implementation. So it's forced to think only about actions, to completely ignore the how and focus only on the what. This is your big picture thinker, the conceptual architect on the team. So after GPTAse creates that raw list, it gets sent through this conceptual channel, let's call it a placebo pipe, over to our next agent, PuTAse, the purifier. And this agent is the super meticulous editor of the group. You can see its job description right here. It has to standardize terminology, split compound steps, resolve ambiguities. Basically, its whole purpose is to take those messy, raw ideas and distill them into perfectly clear, individual, totally unambiguous tasks. It's making sure that before anyone even thinks about writing code, everybody is speaking the exact same language. Its goal is just absolute clarity. All right, next up we have Codin, and I love this one. It's the team's digital archaeologist. Before anyone builds anything new, Codin's job is to go and excavate the existing code, the technical landscape, and map everything out. Its instructions are to browse the repository, produce a concise mental map. So it dives into the current code and comes back with this map, showing all the modules, the entry points, the data flow.
It gives the team that crucial context so that whatever new stuff gets built will actually fit in perfectly with what's already there. And finally, who's in charge of this whole cognitive dance? Well, that would be the orchestrator. And this one isn't just another agent on the team. It's the meta role, the one responsible for the entire process. The orchestrator is literally the nervous system connecting everyone. It's not doing the work, it's managing the process of thinking itself. It's tracking everything, it's detecting when things go wrong, and this is the amazing part, it's automatically figuring out the absolute fastest, most efficient way to get things back on track. See, the real intelligence here isn't just in the individual agents, it's in that space between them. And that's what the orchestrator manages.
Okay, section 4, the adaptive workflow. This is where it gets really interesting because the most crucial part is how this team adapts. It's not just about blindly following a plan. It's about how the entire workflow can change and evolve when it runs into, the real world. So here's what a typical project flow looks like. You start with initiation, discovery, you go through all the steps. It's a nice, clean, straight line from idea to release. And hey, in a perfect world, this is all you'd ever need. But when is the world ever perfect, right? So what happens when you get all the way to the end, during verification, and you get some really severe, unexpected feedback? What happens when you find out you misunderstood a core requirement? And this is where the system's genius really shows. It doesn't just slap a patch on the code. No way. The orchestrator analyzes that feedback, realizes the problem isn't the code, it's the concept, and it triggers a jump. It goes all the way back to the purification step. It goes back to fix the fundamental misunderstanding before anyone wastes time rewriting code. Now that is smart adaptation. So that brings us to our last section, intelligence as a process. Because all of this really builds up to a pretty profound idea, a whole new way of looking at what intelligence even means in a system like this.
Here's the big takeaway, the thing to really remember. The intelligence in this system, it's not in any one agent. It's something that emerges from how they all work together. The blueprint itself isn't the amazing part. The real magic, the true innovation, is the dynamic, self-correcting process that the blueprint makes possible. Which kind of leaves us with one final question to think about. When a process can actually look at itself, see its own mistakes, figure out why it failed, and then redesign its own path forward, is that still just a tool? Or is it starting to become something else entirely?